Hello. Welcome to the Seriously Play bi-weekly business webinar brought to you by Local Life and also FAS Consultancy. This is a company whereby we're sponsoring this platform whereby you can learn fun business acumen ideas and insights to help you make better decisions in a very fun manner. Now, if you can, we would like you to like our Seriously Play Facebook page. Like, follow, share, and review what's you're learning from today. Then we can actually benefit more people to learn new things, technical stuff, especially in a very fun manner. Now, let's get started. Now, how do you read people like master? This is the topic for today. Yeah. So the idea is to bring you to know how you actually know how to identify the person that you're actually engaging with, and also determine what is it that you want to know about that person, and then how to engage with them. So here's what we're going to do. So a little bit about myself. I'm actually a communication coach and team coaching specialist. My specialization is actually helping teams to succeed in articulating ideas and also know how to work in hand with them so they can actually collaborate and then get productive results. That's what I do. Now, I just want to ask you to actually participate, to write inside the chat box, what is it that you want to achieve today? So I'm going to give you 1 minute to actually write it down. So just 1 minute starts now. Okay, I can see you have written there, you want to learn how to read people. Okay, very good. And I can also see that you actually wanted to know how to connect and then have a good conversation and the right word to say. Okay, thank you very much. I think most of you actually wanted to know what is it that you want to know about the person by actually reading from their expression, from the way they actually carry themselves. So then you were able to know what to say next, right? Yeah, okay, I can see the emojis there. Thank you very much. Now, let's get started. Usually there are 3 common challenges that you want to communicate and connect with others. So what are the 3 common challenges? They are: number 1, you actually don't know what the other person think about, correct? So when you actually have this kind of conception, you will always think about, alamak, what's the person thinking? How can I actually understand how the person thinks so I can convey the idea more correctly, correct? Yeah, I can see some of you actually writing there already. Okay, thank you very much. So yes, correct. So therefore, when you actually wanted to know what other people are thinking, you will actually need to do a lot of things. We're going to share later in the session so you can benefit from here. And second part is that you don't know how to approach others. So that's actually a concern, how to actually start the conversation going. Because that's the second part. And number 3 itself, actually you don't know how to pay attention to signs that comes to you. There's some signal and clues there that you have to pay attention to. So do you know how to pay attention to that sign? So these are the 3 common challenges that people are facing. So you need your attention on this. Now, I'm sure there will be 3 desired outcomes that you want to achieve from this session also, which is also reading people like a master will able to help you on this. Is number 1, you actually want to read people's mind. So how are you going to do that to reading people's mind? That's why you're here, right? So we're going to share actually a few tips so you can actually pay attention to for you to actually get engaged with people. And secondly, is that you want immediately connect with others. So when by actually connecting with others, you are able to know what to say and how to actually get a rapport building so you can build trust immediately. So we're going to actually study that. And number 3, actually want to know what to say when meeting others. So a lot of people I've talked to, even my clients, so sometimes they're a bit dumbfounded when you're actually attending like a networking session, so you don't know what to say. How are you going to start off the conversation? That's actually a challenging part for some people, especially for introverts. So pay attention on this part. And now I'm going to do a summary already that actually mentioned the challenges and the outcome. Can you just type into the chat box so I know that actually which particular challenges and also the outcome that you want to achieve? Okay, I'm going to give you 1 minute to do that. Okay, wonderful. I can see some of you type 1, some type 2, some 1, 2, 3 also. Yeah, it's okay. Sometimes it's just We just have to acknowledge and be honest with ourselves so that you know what is happening around you and you know what action to be taken. All right, thank you very much for your participation. Now let's dive into the details. I actually come up with this OLA communication framework whereby it helps you to identify how you're going to connect with people easily by reading people. Of course, today we are focusing more on the reading people, so we're going to focus on the cognition. The cognition means to actually focusing on getting a confused signal that you're getting to more clarity, So what we're going to focus today, because we're going to focus on recognizing theme. So what does recognizing the theme means? It actually means that you actually know the pattern. Know the pattern to pay attention to so that you know what to do next when you actually see the pattern or the trigger that help you to identify, oh, this is the next step I'm going to do. So how many of you wanted to know about how to get to know the pattern and then straight away jump into the answer to actually address that? Okay, I can see some responses already. Thank you very much for that. Now, always remember, clarity leads to power. When you have clarity, it means you know what to do. When you know what to do, then it's easy for you to identify the signals when it comes to you, and you're able to read people easily because you know what to do. Okay, let's jump straight in. Now, I just want to ask you, who do you think know to observe well that you know in this world? Or it can be a fictional character or somebody that you know that you can observe well. Let's see what's the answer. Okay. Yeah. One thing, actually, one person, if you notice, is actually the person is called the Sherlock Holmes. Have you heard of him? You heard of him, right? So Sherlock Holmes is actually one of the well-known fictional character that actually pay attention to a lot of observation skills. Therefore, when he actually do that, he will able to actually solve a lot of mystery, a lot of murder cases, a lot of funny incidences that actually have no idea how to do the breakthrough. He's the one can solve it. Because why? He has the observation skills that you're going to learn today. Now, the benefit of having good observation is like this. You were able to become a human lie detector. Why? Because when you actually able to observe, you're able to somehow sense there's something wrong or somewhere not right with this person when you're actually engaging with, even they haven't speak a word. You can roughly know there's some sort of like the energy transmission there. You're actually able to pick up that lie detection from yourself because you're paying a lot of attention to the person before the person speaks. So it gives you some power like a gut feeling how this kind of person is because you have this capability inborn with you. All right, so that's the benefit number one. Secondly, itself, you become more mindful and focused because you are able to actually pay attention to the details when you become more present. Imagine now you actually want to look at the person, but your mind is distracted. Oh, what am I cooking for lunch? What am I having for dinner? What am I going to say next or not? You're actually not paying full 100% attention, which means you're not so mindful in the conversation you're engaging with. So therefore, right, if you're actually able to be mindful and focused, you're paying 100% of attention to the person you're engaging with, you will able to detect small clues there. The only problem is because nowadays attention span is very limited and people, especially marketers, are actually having tough time to identify how to get attention to the person and then let them pay attention to the marketing messages that comes around. So that's actually the challenges people around the world are facing because of technology. So if you can train yourself, be mindful and focused and pay 100 and 110% attention, you will be able to actually identify person's thinking. All right, so this is the part. And now the next part is talking about healthy relationship. Why is being mindful is actually help you to become having a healthy relationship is because when you actually pay attention to the signal or the clues that the person emitted out, you are able to actually get ideas how you're going to work well with the other person. I give you one example. Let's say I have my partner. So sometimes when he comes back late, right? So I know that he's actually have a hard day. Then from the expression that he shows, I will able to tell, today is not a good day to actually ask him for some favors I want to ask him. So better not. So I'll reserve that for another day when I observe him, I actually become a better and he feels happy. I can roughly tell from the expression. So then I can actually, because of that, then our relationship get better because I able to actually read my partner's expression well, and I know what he need is, then he will, wow, she knows what I want. So then easier for him to actually prepare that and also get ready and be in the good relationship because we're committed to do our best in everything that we do. Okay. Now, the next one is actually about analytical skills and attention to details, because people who are highly observable and with high observation skills, they are able to analyze things very, very detailed and pay attention to minute details so that you can actually become a better observer. And because you have become a better observer, you are able to pay attention to the person's needs whenever it arises. All right, so next, last but not least, will be flexibility and survival skills. Because when you become, you're very good in observation, you increase your flexibility in doing things, like just like this cockroach. Yeah, so that's why you say why cockroach can survive in a very dire environment, that so much hater around them, they can still survive, is because they have the flexibility and adaptability skills inborn in them. So therefore, when you're able to do that, you are mastering yourself to understand the person well, because you're able to adapt in any situation. Just imagine your boss having a very sour face when you actually want to actually ask for a raise. Let's say, for example, ask for money from your boss. But then you actually know, okay, today boss, the angin not so good. Then you know already, this is not a good time to actually ask for a favor from your boss already, because that's where you become more stable in your company, and you actually won't actually hit on the landmine where the boss doesn't favor that. Okay. Hi, Y. Good afternoon. Welcome. Now, how are you going to read people effectively? Why? I just want to ask if you can participate that easily. Can I just ask your question? Ask you what's your guess actually? If you can participate. Yeah, so anyway, so what's our guess? Basically, let's say we're a verbal content, what we say, and the verbal tone, how we say it, and also our body language, what we do. What do you think is a percentage? You can actually type into the chat box so you can participate there. Why? Yeah, any ideas? Okay. Okay, now let me review to you. Actually, this one is actually very true. When you actually want to read people, these are the three elements that's actually important for you to identify how you're going to read people well. So what's the percentage? Let me review to you. Now, according to Albert Mehrabian, the famous psychologist, is actually went to study on his sample. So in the sample size, he noticed that he actually discovered the 73855 rules. So what does the number mean? The number actually means the elements of the personal communication, whereby you actually 7% is actually from our spoken words, and 38% is actually from our voice and also the tone of the voice that we use. And majority of it is actually 55% is the body language. So you can see so much is actually emphasis placed on body language. So we have to pay attention to when we actually want to read people's mind. We want to read people, pay attention to especially 38% part, which is the tone of voice and also the body language. These are the two elements because it makes up for 93% of what the messages you're going to get, the signal that you're going to get from the other person you're engaging with. So now, let me just ask you, if you, let's say the first thing you need to do is actually body language, right? Just now I mentioned already, because it consists of 55%. Then next will be the tone of voice, which is 38%. And last but not least, the choice of words, which is a verbal communication, which is the choice of words, which consists of 7%. So these are the three elements for you to help you to read the people perfectly. So now, we are today, because of the time, we're going to focus on the body language, not so much on the tone and choice of words, but we can do it another session when time permits. Okay, for today's session, we're going to focus solely more on the body language. Now, when you're actually doing a body language, right, there are actually 5 C's of body language you need to pay attention to. What are they? So first of all, the context. So what do you mean by context? For example, when you're actually in the cold aircon room, when you just talk to your boss or your colleague or a friend or a client, for example, suddenly when you talk to a certain point, then you actually see the other person like holding the hand like this. So in this context, right, you will think that the person actually like, wow, like, is there something I say is wrong? That's why the person suddenly fold his hand. Or there's actually because the aircon was like whole day already opening, you are meeting at 3 p.m. for example, the room is super cold already. So is that the reason why the person fold his hand? So this is the part you need to pay attention to. Is this a context that's actually resulting the person's body language that way? So don't take it personally sometimes to say, is it because he's folding my hand, that's why he doesn't like my idea? Actually, sometimes no, it can be an environmental issue. So you have to see what's the context. And secondly is a cluster. Cluster means you don't have to look at just only that folding hand gesture. You can also look at the facial expression and also the words the person used also can determine also what's the meaning of the expression or the gestures, the body language showing. Okay, you have to pay attention to this part. And the third C is congruence. So you look at congruent means is there a place whereby you can see what the person say and what the body language shows, is it same or not? So if there's no same, that means there will be something that you need to pay attention on. And consistency itself is more on the behavior. It's more of observing the behavior, whether from the start to the end, is it the similar idea or suddenly the person change his mind often along the way, then it actually tells you that something is not right there. So the way the position, the way the sitting also is also a determining factor, and also the way that actually they speak also is a way that you can actually tell whether there's a consistency in the message. If let's say the person say yes right in the front, but then show like this. So it actually means actually no. Subconsciously it's telling you that it's actually a no, even though verbally the person say yes. Okay, so that's why you have to pay attention the consistency of the message from the front to the end. You're able to know what the body language actually means. Now, last but not least, of course, culture, because culturally itself, it will affect the meaning of the words. Like for example, like in Bulgaria itself, a nodding head is actually means no. Okay, nodding head is actually no. For us, right, nodding head is mean yes. So it's actually in the opposite. So there are places like Iran also similarly. So you have to pay attention the cultural needs so that if you're actually working with counterparts from overseas, you will able to understand them better before they even mean. If not, right, when you actually make a proposal or you say something, then you actually want to get a confirmation, then suddenly you get like this. They say, oh yes, go ahead already, green light. Then in the end, you present back the idea execution already. The client say, no, I didn't agree. So how? So you got stuck already in the process. So better not let yourself to be stuck in the process by understanding the cultural differences when you actually understanding body language. Okay, so far so good? Okay, cool. So if that's the case, right, today we're going to focus on this thing called the OTC, which is observe the crowd. Body language, there are many. It can be a hand gesture, can be even your finger, your eyes, your nose, even your mouth movement, your eyebrow movement, all will determine the meaning of what the person means and when he responds to what you ask. Or even that, even you don't ask also, when you say something, the person respond in a way that actually from this head alone, is actually can see a lot of signals and clues already. So now let's today focus on what? Well, let's focus on observing the crown. Why the crown is important? Because in our whole body, right, we have actually most what they call mini organs that actually appears, that actually give a lot of expression and muscle is actually on the face. This is number one. Secondly, itself along the, like for example, the neck, or even the way we actually move our heads, move our eyebrow, move our eyes, all are these small, minute details and signals that tell you that something is right or something not right. So how are you going to observe the crown? So let's drill into in the detail. Let's say start number one, head nodding. So why I want to ask you, since you are here, do you mind to share actually what head noddings mean to you? Do you know? Yep. So head nodding is actually, generally it means actually yes in our culture. Like, what do you think of why that's the case? Okay. So no worries. So if that's the case, the head nodding actually means yes in our culture. And also if let's say for just now I was mentioning the idea of Bulgaria and Iran. So that means actually no for them. So why head nodding is actually something, okay, I know already, Ma, why are you sharing this? But the idea is when you actually do head nodding, there's actually other messages you can actually identify one. What are they? Let's go and see. First of all, head nodding actually encourages participation and evokes an emotion. When you actually want to engage with your friend, for example, let's say your friend is telling you a story, let's say the girlfriend suddenly left him. So what you're going to do is like you just paying attention, just do nodding, nodding, and nodding. So that's all you need to do. So when you actually do that, even you don't say a word, your friend feel like you understand him because you not by paying attention, and you encourage the person to open up to speak with you because you just do the nodding. All right. So when you actually nod, even though like I said, you don't say anything, the person feels. You can evoke the emotion of the person when you actually do simple nodding like this. So I encourage you to try to actually talk to your family members, especially your mother. Don't say anything. When she says something, you just nod your head. Okay, that's all you need to do, just to show your participating. And after that, right, when you actually nod, you actually can influence one. Because why? When you actually nod, the person is actually paying attention and then you can influence the person to your advantage. So let me give you one example. At one point of time when I actually have a training session, I actually encourage my participant to actually contribute an idea. Now, that participant, the group of participants that I have is actually software engineers, a very quiet introvert person. But then I start to actually nod. When I want to ask one question, I continuously nod until at one point of time, the person actually speak up. Then speak up. So even though you don't say anything, you just continue nod and then continue to actually express your interest of them participating, you can actually encourage them. So this is actually one example you can do when you're actually doing nodding. And then secondly is that I also experienced when I was in sales that time, I was actually engaging with a client who want to buy, I was in the property industry, so a property that he want to buy. And then he was actually thinking about whether this is actually a good investment or not. So during the engagement with this client, I know I qualified him, he really can affordable to buy. And I know he can buy it at the spot. The only thing is that we need some encouragement, influence them. So what I did is that every objection that he mentioned, I will actually say something back and I'll continue nodding. Changing the negativity in him, the objection, into something positive by just nodding. So when you're actually doing the nodding part, is actually subconsciously you are influencing the other person to actually buy in your idea by just doing so. So therefore, you can see even like Oprah Winfrey, like for example, if you notice her show, she does a lot of nodding in her show because she wants to influence her idea sometimes into the guest speaker that she actually engaged with. So pay attention to this. And then I want you to let you know the most important part of head nodding is to pay attention to.
I need to know what is your policy for this fair price purchase exchange?
Yes, why? Sorry, your question?
Okay. Within 1 week.
Okay, so pay attention to the frequency because the frequency itself will tells you how much is this. So when you're actually doing the nodding, the magic number is actually five nods. Especially when you're engaging with your client, right? You keep on nodding like 1 second per nod. So you do 1 second per nod, you can actually show interest to the client and participating. And then secondly itself, before you actually say more, right? They actually on the fourth nod, they will ask you something with you. So try this out. You can see the difference to influence your client when you want to do head nodding. All right, thank you. So now the second part is talking about head bobbing. Head bobbing. This one is actually usually South Asian actually would like to do this because head bobbing is one of the cultural things that we need to understand. At first, when I actually engaging with my Indian colleague last time, I don't know what does it mean. It's like keep on bobbing, bobbing. You know, something like the mini toy in the car one, they actually bobbing, bobbing. So this is how I felt when I first engaged with my Indian colleagues. So then after that, I realized when I do more research about it, I understand actually head bobbing means something. So what are they? So number one is actually to indicate yes, good, okay, maybe, I understand. So that's what it means, the head bobbing. Second part itself is actually alternative to say thank you, acknowledge a person, and then polite gesture. So what does it mean from here? It means they just, when they actually do a head bobbing like this, it's actually culturally, it actually just means a way to say thank you. Just like sometimes we not to say thank you, so same, right? So for our South Asian friends, they will actually prefer to do the head bobbing gesture. So if you understand the cultural differences, now we say, and the context, then we're able to understand, is that what he means? Yeah. Let's say sometimes, for example, like the yes, right? In this case, I have one Indian friend, I got one example. I asked, hey, you want to come for lunch or not? We're going to meet at 1 o'clock at this cafeteria A. So then no answer at all. The person just bobbed his head like this. So when he bobbed his head, at first I thought, hey, what, are you coming or not? So not sure. Then never mind. So at the particular time I was there at the cafe, the guy showed up. So I understand already. When actually bobbing, there's actually paying attention to this. The speed of the head bobbing will help you to identify whether the person is giving you a yes or just a polite gesture. You can tell. So now, how are you going to tell this? The speed, let's say very fast, like this. So very fast, it means is tell you that the person understands. The faster the person actually bob his head, this actually means the more he understands. So this is the sign number one. Sign number two is when the person bobbing, let's say now, with some consistency and stop. So the person is actually agree with you. Okay, yes, agree with you. And then, of course, the other one is actually when actually the person bob and then stop for a while. It means a polite gesture. It's just a polite gesture when you say like this. Okay, so there's actually different way of head bobbing. The meaning of the head bobbing means to you. So therefore, you need to pay attention to the speed for this case. All right, good. So now next is actually head shaking. Head shaking, shaking your head. Shaking your head. So head shaking actually means what? So head shaking, it means helpless. Let's say, for example, you go to a hospital, okay? And there's maybe a relative there who's actually in operation theater, and then you come out and the doctor actually do like this. So it's actually, it means to you, I'm so sorry, ma'am, there's nothing we can do to help. So it's an indication of helplessness in this case. And the next one is actually to indicate surprise with, for example, let's say now you're going to the Olympics, for example. Let's say, like, I still remember like during 2008, I think, 2008, the Beijing Olympics at the time. So during the Beijing Olympics at the time, if you go and visit their stadium, it's like, wow, unbelievable, that's what it means. So when you actually have something that you are indicating surprise and you actually not expected at all, so you will tend to actually shake your head. Okay, if you don't believe me, you just observe yourself. When you start to like surprise with something, do you actually do this? Yeah, just observe. And of course, you indicate some confidence also. Why? Let's say, for example, you're actually engaging your boss, right? Your boss have this gesture of like, every time like this. So for you, as a staff, you feel a bit intimidated because the boss is so confident that actually you will be more intimidated because you keep on shaking your head. For this boss, I can tell you, indication to you is if your boss have this gesture all along, let's say it become a habit, it's actually a sign to tell you this person is not very easy to please one. Because he knows what he's doing, and whatever you do, sometimes very hard to please him. So if you are engaging with such a boss, just pay attention. How can we break his pattern so that you can actually get what you want in the end? All right. So pay attention to the speed also. So when the person actually shake his head like this, very, very fast one, let's say you were talking, you want to say very, very fast, the person actually disagree with you strongly and want to interrupt you immediately to correct you. So that's the indication to you. If let's say the person shakes the head like this slow, The person do not agree with what you say, but then he doesn't like to disrupt you and interrupt you in the process when you're talking. So pay attention to the speed of the head shaking, so you know actually what it means when actually does that head shaking movement. Okay. Last but not least, about head tilting. Head tilting. What's so special about head tilting? Head tilting itself, you have to actually combine with actually the facial expression. You have to pay attention to the facial expression because it actually gives you some different meaning when you actually do the head tilting movement. So what the head tilting movement actually means to you is like this. It actually, first of all, it shows that he likes you. The person like what you are talking and very interested in you. That's why they do like this. But of course, the facial expression tells a lot of difference compared to you see the picture now versus your expression. Okay, so when you actually person like it, you can see the eyes suddenly like enlarge, and you can see the head is actually tilting, actually move forward to you. So it means they like you and like to engage what you're saying. So that's actually one indication, head tilting. And then why is it important, head tilting? Because it's also indicate trust and submission yielding. You know why? Because like you will observe the animal kingdom, right? If let's say there's actually one animal that's starting tilting the head because they're exposing their neck. So when they're exposing their neck, it's actually a very vulnerable place that you can become succumb or being bite by the animal who's more ferocious than you. So therefore, right, when you actually want to sort of like surrender or submission to the more dominant or stronger animal, you will actually show your neck to actually show your vulnerability. So that means you actually submit to the person and also indicate I'm trusting you. That's why I'm revealing my neck to you. So that's actually one of the signal that you can actually identify how this person perception about you when before you even say anything, just by the expression of them tilting their head. Okay, this is one of that signal. And then one of the signal is they are curious. Of course, when they're curious, right, suddenly the brows will come closer. You'll be like, This is a more prominent if you can see in children. Children, you can see when they start to be curious, right? They will start to tilt their head and then they have this funny expression in their face. So then you can see they actually have some question they want to ask, or they are very interested to know what is it. Very curious to find out. So that's what head tilting means. So this is the part where you need to pay attention to the facial expression. So the facial expression tells a lot what does the head tilting means. In this case, like you can see, I will share with you, there are actually three possibilities there when you're actually doing this combined with the facial expression. So this actually summarizes the head, observe the crown, what you're supposed to do when you actually notice somebody do this to you. All right, so let's summarize part. Actually, we want to know about this body language and read people effectively because we want to switch from being confused to more clear. So now at least you know what is the indication of the clues of the person doing that movement of the head. You will have some clarity in what the person means. Instead of earlier we're just guessing, hey, what does it mean? Now you don't have this problem already because you have much clearer why the person behaved that way. And secondly itself, it also helps you to shift from detached to engage. Because earlier, right, because you don't understand. The more you don't understand, the more you want to be detached from that because you don't want to get in the sticky situation that get you into trouble. So therefore, you want to stay away, stay low in the radar, don't want to get involved. But then now you know how to deal with them already because of the signal they tell you, you become more engaged in the conversation and you become more engaged with the person that you want to connect with. So this is the second thing you actually need to do, a mindset shift you can see from that. Then the third one is to shift from indecisive to influence because earlier you do not know what the signal means. Now you know already what it means. It's easier for you to know what to say next because you're able to influence based on the signal they're telling you. So let's say they're telling you a more negative one. Your chance now is to do the reframing and actually change the perception of how they were to view your items or your service. Then you can influence them and then make them actually change the position of the way they actually move their head to your interest. Let's say earlier was just shaking your head. Then when you actually understand already, then you actually counter the objection. They something tilted their head. So there will be an indication for you. They're starting to trust you already. They like what you're saying. Next time when you actually induce influence in them, then you will get the result that you want. Right? So these are the three things that we're talking about. Now, let's actually do a summary to actually want to know what do you get out from today's short session. I know it's a bit short, but then because of the limited time, I would like to able to actually hear from you what is your insight, ideas, and inspiration from this short sharing, and what actions that you can take to help you understand the person, read the person better, and slowly master the way you observe people to become a better communicator. So I'm going to give you 30 seconds so you can actually work on this. So then bring home and then practice it to people around you. Okay, thank you. Just type into the chat box, yeah, so I can see. Okay, thank you very much for your response. With that, I would like to turn your insight into action plan. Make sure you do that. And like to end, if you are interested to actually know more how to improve the way you communicate with others, how you're going to talk to anyone, you are welcome to come and have a call with me so we can understand your needs, then we can take yourself to a next level. All right, so that's the part we have to end this session already. And if you'd like to join also our WhatsApp group, so we can actually have a community, you can join Talk to Anyone community so that we can actually keep you in touch if there's any further, there's some tips or some references we can put there to actually help you to navigate yourself to the next level. Right, so if you're interested in this, we have a fun fact and tips. Just review your experience on Seriously Play's Facebook page and we can send you the fun fact tips for reference for free. Okay, just drop in the review, then we can actually send you the details. Right, so also mark your calendars because Seriously Play, we have other activities that await you with the business webinar that help you to engage yourself and also enhance your business acumen with a fun learning manner. So what do we do? Next, on the 10th of September, 8:30 to 9:30 p.m., we have Jeffro Ong to come and speak with us on the emotional stress within 2 minutes. So how you're going to do that is very easy. You just need to come for the webinar. So now come, join, just scan the QR code or type in tinyurl.com. You can get it inside the chat box. Then you're able to see what is it about and how you actually aware what's the thing you can help you to remove your emotional stress within 2 minutes. Okay. Now, the last but not least, also next year, we're going to have a place where we can actually share with you how you use gamification to understand accounting easily using a Kopitiam concept. So you're going to immerse yourself in the Kopitiam setting because Kopitiam is something we can relatable, especially with food, right? So it's easy for you to understand the concept of accounting and taxation, and also how you go to do proper investment and also stock taking and inventory taking so that you will know how to manage your business well using this Kopitiam accounting concept. So you make accounting your cup of tea so you know how to go about in managing your business. So it's happening on 23rd and 24th next year of April. So scan this QR code or can click on tinyurl.com/JomKopitiam. Then you're able to actually find us and help you to improve your business in a more easy and fun manner. Okay, with that, I would like to actually get some feedback from you. Just go to this QR code and scan. Just type in your comments so we can actually improve for the next session so we can help to serve you better. Okay, with that, I would like to say thank you so much for your participation and I look forward to seeing you. Take care. Bye.